Hey, howdy, hey, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sam. I'm a YouTuber who has a passion for all things Drag Race. So, for today's video, I'm going to be doing my second installment of Drag Race All-Stars International, my fantasy season of Drag Race. So this will be episode 2, yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so, before we get into it, actually, make sure to hit that like button, comment down below, what you think of this episode, and make sure to hit that subscribe button for future episodes. Let's get into it. Alright, so this is going to be episode 2, and for this episode, we are going to be having Snatch Game, because, I just love Snatch Game, and I just figured it'd be a really fun thing to do. So, let's get into it. Alright, so the queens are going to come back in after Something Wong's elimination. Last week was a fun episode. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. I'll put an info card up here. It was a runway episode, a design challenge more specifically, where the queens had to make different looks inspired by their home countries. Because this is All-Stars International, and I figured that'd be a fun way to kind of have each queen represent their own country and do something fun. So, yeah, last week the winner was Manila, and unfortunately Something Wrong had to sashay away. So, now we're into a new episode. This week's is Snatch Game. It's a new day in the workroom now. Should have mentioned that earlier, sorry. It's a new day in the workroom, and they are going to be doing a mini challenge. RuPaul comes out and announces that the mini challenge this week will be a quick drag obstacle course. So the queens have to get into quick drag and then go through an obstacle course similar to Wipeout type style. So it's going to be a bigger obstacle course. I figured this would be a fun sort of thing for them to do. See who would do well, who would not, whatever. Anyways, in the end, the winner is Cedrine. Picture here. I figured Cedrine would win this because Cedrine is already a pretty athletic individual, so I figured it would make sense for Cedrine to win this. And yeah, that's about it. So now Ru mentions that this week's main challenge is going to be Snatch Game. And all the queens are excited, you know. There are a few that aren't so excited because they don't necessarily feel too confident about it all, but we'll see how it goes. Anyways, so now let's get into who is going to portray who for Snatch Game. Jimbo, I'm going to start with Jimbo. Jimbo is going to be Jane Lynch. Picture here. I figured Jane Lynch would make sense for Jimbo because Jane Lynch is similar in that older aesthetic. However, Jane Lynch is also a comedian, so I figured that would go really well for Jimbo, especially after he did such a good job as Joan Rivers. So I figured that just made sense to have Jimbo be Jane Lynch. Next is Tynomi Banks. Picture here. She's going to be Grace Jones. Picture here. I looked online and that's who she said she was going to be if she had made it to the Snatch Game in Canada's Drag Race. So I figured that would make sense to have her be Grace Jones for this. Next is going to be Blue Hydrangea, who's going to be Cheryl Hole. Pictures here. I just thought this would be funny because Cheryl Hole was the queen who eliminated Blue Hydrangea in Drag Race UK, so I figured that'd be a fun opportunity for Blue to kind of have fun with Cheryl a little bit. I just thought that'd be really funny. I think she would do a really good job at it. Next is going to be Davina DeCampo, who will be Emily Blunt. Pictures here. I just figured that made sense because I think they look kind of similar, and I think Davina could do a pretty good job as Emily Blunt. Just because Davina is already a pretty good actor, so I figured she would do pretty well portraying Emily Blunt. Next is going to be Cedrine, who will be portraying Miss Doubtfire. Pictures here. Who is Robin Williams' character in Miss Doubtfire, obviously. Miss Doubtfire seemed like a good fit for Cedrine, just because Miss Doubtfire has a similar aesthetic, and I figured Cedrine could do a really fun job being Miss Doubtfire and do a pretty good job and do pretty well. So that's why I have Cedrine as Miss Doubtfire. Next, I have Madam Madness, and she's going to be taking a risk, because she was like, I'm going to take a risk this time and shave my beard again. I just thought that would be fun, and she's going to be Maggie Smith for this. I don't know why I picked Maggie Smith, I just I could see it. I could see that happening, seeing how that would go. It's not going to go too well, but she's taking a risk, you know, good for her. Next is going to be Shangela, who's going to be RuPaul. Pictures here. I thought this was funny, especially because Trixie attempted to be RuPaul on All-Star 3 for Snatch Game and did a not very good job. So I figured it'd be kind of funny for an opportunity for Shangela to come out and be RuPaul and do well as RuPaul. So I thought that would be really funny, and like, I know Shangela would be able to do RuPaul pretty well. So I figured that'd be really good and really kind of funny to see how that works. Anyways. Next is going to be Manila, who will be Margaret Cho. Pictures here. Margaret Cho's just a funny person. I figured Manila is a funny person. So 2 and 2 kind of adds up. It works. Finally, I have Heidi in Closet, who is going to be Jada Essence Hall. Pictures here. I just think Heidi knows Jada so well, and because they're basically sisters, that Heidi would be able to do a very good job as Jada. I also just thought it would be funny to have Heidi being Jada. I think she would do a really good job at it. So, now we have our top 3. Our top 3 is going to be Shangela, Heidi, and Jimbo. Because I figured they all would do pretty well with it. We all know that they can do a pretty good job, and I figured it works in my head. Bottom 3 are going to be Madam Madness, Tynomi Banks, and Setter Jean. Setter Jean is in the bottom because of the language barrier a little bit. I mean, she speaks English well, it's just a little bit of a language barrier might affect her a little bit. Tynomi is in the bottom just because when we saw her in the acting challenges in Canada's Drag Race, she didn't necessarily do the best. So I figured that would make sense, and she probably wouldn't be too confident either after last week. And finally, Madam Madness is also in the bottom because she took a risk, but it didn't pay off. So I figured it'd make sense to put her in the bottom. And the safe queens are going to be Manila, Blue Hydrangea, and Davina. Just makes sense in my head. They all do fine, nothing too bad, it's just some of the other queens are better, so they're safe. And the winner this week is going to be Shangela. Picture here. I just figured Shangela would win because she would do well on the runway. She has really good runways when she doesn't have to design it herself. And also I figured she would do a really good job at the Snatch Game as RuPaul, just because in my head it'd be really funny for her to win as RuPaul, and then Trixie to be in the bottom as RuPaul. I figured that would be kind of funny, so that's why I have Shangela win. Anyways, the bottom 2 who are lip syncing are going to be Madam Madness and Tynomi. And in the end, Madam Madness is going to have to sashay away. I figured it would just make sense because I think Tynomi would be able to upstage Madam Madness pretty well. We all saw that Tynomi was a pretty fierce lip syncer. So this is her second week in the bottom though, so she really needs to step it up next week. Otherwise, it's not going to go too well for her. But that's the end of this episode. Make sure to like this episode if you liked it. Comment down below what you thought of this episode, what you thought of the Snatch Games, all the above. I also, next week, will be doing a Rusical. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's going to be really cool. I'm really excited about this Rusical. I really wish they did this Rusical on Snatch Game, or on Drag Race, but it's going to happen here. Anyways, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel for more future episodes. I will also be doing other things on this channel up until Drag Race comes back next year. We have about a month and a half left. We're almost there, though. Hey, we're almost at new seasons of Drag Race, so not much longer. Anyways, have a good rest of your day. I will see you guys back here tomorrow for another video. Bye, guys.